We're doing this amazing tour this summer called Harmonious Humanity Activation, and we're asking people what you think it would take to activate harmonious humanity.
Wow. Are you ready to speak Spanish?
Go ahead.
I'm ready to create this harmonious pathway, and obviously the network, like you said, we've talked a lot about that. It is creating the network, it is knowing who's out there doing it, and for me, the most exciting project that I feel is coming is visionary cultural experiences within festivals that actually build an infrastructure for us to live like this, because I think we're ready to live the festival life,
Absolutely.
this life of celebration.
Forever festies.
Yes, exactly. And live together. And that's where we become harmonious, is when we use the models that have come out of the mainstream and reevaluate how they can actually build an infrastructure for the visions we have of living. And I think I've had such amazing experiences with Burning Man and that whole culture, but I've seen how much our mainstream festival lifestyle is wasteful, because it comes from this corporate way of doing
that kind
festivals.
of old paradigm,
Exactly.
like monocrop, like waste cycle,
Right.
instead of building these permaculture influenced regenerative models where
Exactly.
when we bring together all these thousands of people and millions of dollars, we're actually building eco-villages
Yes.
for artists to be able to
Exactly.
travel the world and always have a home.
And have a collective that they can
Yeah.
they can resonate with the community. And
Yes.
yeah, I think to speak to that, I see the harmony in humanity creating itself right now, right here, through our interactions, through being in authentic communication with each other, through sharing love and vulnerability, and being ready and willing for an evolution of our consciousness at any moment to take place. Live your life to the fullest. We're approaching a place in our society and in our consciousness that we are no longer a part of the old paradigm. We're creating a new model, like she was saying, with permaculture and eco-villages. That is the future, and it's now. And
Yes.
ancient future.
So what do you see as the next evolution of this seed growing into that crystal of the new paradigm?
I feel like it might be extending to other planetariums. I think it's a really great medium to really immerse yourself in the experience of the creation of art. And with that, connecting people and communities, maybe initially centered around places where there's planetariums, but being able to draw people in with something like a planetarium show and connect them to like what we're doing out here, where there's a gallery in the lobby featuring local artists. All the artists featured in the gallery are from Colorado. And I feel like a large intention behind that is to connect the people who live in an area to the artists, so that, I feel like with everything, it's knowing the source of where you get a piece of art, where you get your food, where your beliefs come from even.
Yeah, I mean, for a lot of us, above and beyond the art that's here, there's just this amazing opportunity for community and new connections and relationships. Like the people who I've met here tonight are like the most resonant people I've ever met all in one place, and it's just this tiny little planetarium show, but it's this hub of this conscious movement. And I'm really excited about you continuing to ripple that and this community continuing to spread that. And before we have Android join you up here, wondering if you can speak to what kind of support you would need, or how people can get involved in bringing this to their community or helping to spread it.
So one of the big intentions behind this event was to show people what's possible when your heart's on fire about something. And you burn through those blockages, the difficulties that arise when you start a new practice or a new art. And that is what I see and I feel that this world needs, is people with their hearts on fire about all these different beautiful and amazing things that we can do. You know, whether that's painting or digital art or sculpting or glass blowing or slacklining or yoga or, you know, even cooking.
Programming.
There's so many amazing things that we can do and share. And coming from that mindset, you know, it's like we're working together as a unified organism, and allowing and trusting each person to do follow their own passion. And I feel like if we can get to that paradigm where we're no longer in this mentality of survival or worrying about where their shelter is or food, people then move their thought of like, well, what do we do? We don't need to work for food. We don't need to work for shelter. What do we work for? And that is, for me, you know, working to create beautiful things to share and experience with everybody else. And I see that as a potential or almost necessary for this world, because so much energy is lost in competition and all of us competing against each other and not embracing community.
Yeah, and when you're speaking of that, I'm thinking about this new definition of wealth. Like, that isn't about numbers in a bank account, but wealth is more about like the experience of how you live. Like, you started off by saying that you're enlivened, you know, and that is something that you can't put a number on. You can't put a price tag on that. And at the same time, I'm curious, like, how this kind of movement, you know, there's a way that we were talking about how musicians were able to create these playlists and send them here and not have to come and perform, but have like a satellite event. And in a way, that's a way of kind of amplifying that one artist's ability to be in multiple places simultaneously and be generating abundance in communities all around the world. And what could happen, like, instead of that abundance just going to that one artist, what would happen if we were able to leverage that kind of decentralized sharing of abundance in order to shift? Because there are some people who are still needing, definitely, I still need to work for food and shelter. So, you know, what is the vision? How could a movement like this, in your mind, distribute the surplus in a way that empowers more and more people to live that life of freedom and beauty that you spoke of?
I feel that it is us collectively coming to this place of agreeing what world we want to live in, because that's what I feel this world is. It's we all co-create this world together. We collectively agree, you know, combined, that this is the world that we want right now. Unfortunately, that's a world of competition, and that movement from this collectively agreeing to compete against each other to collectively agreeing to work together, to share with each other, and to really become aware of our potential to create and co-create in this world.
And it just feels good. Like you said before, it's just like ripples of bliss spreading out everywhere. Like, it's much more fun than feeling threatened and like competing. And you know, this concept of like enoughness or something. Like you were saying before, what you were saying about kind of trusting each person. It's like each person is enough, you know, and worthy and deserving of the abundance and the love. And I don't know where humanity got off track with that, but I'm so grateful that there are people like you helping to reawaken that possibility for humanity.
Thank you, Lotus. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
You're doing a spectacular job of helping echo and ripple that out as well.
Thank you. Hey there.
Hi.
So if you could introduce yourself.
Yeah, it's Grady Boles. I'm with the Boulder Secret Conviviality Society, also been referred to as a conviviality community theater and entertainment company.
Nice.
Yay.
And we were also talking about this amazing campaign that we're launching this summer called Harmonious Humanity, and you said something about further having some messages about that. We'd love to hear what your thoughts are. And
Kind of on a fluke, I was going into Vegas for meetings that started the Monday after the festival. I'm like, okay, I'll go to this festival. It's further future, it's Robot Heart. That's going to be interesting. And they had a lineup of visionary speakers who could speak about artificial intelligence, exoskeleton development, robotics in general. But then there was the group under the yoga tent that had a gong bath that you could just lay and enjoy. That was some guy's artwork that was all automated and yet just so beautiful. There they offered people whose intentions were for us to use biometrics and study how meditation and relaxing contributes to our well-being and to the awakening that leads to world peace. And I heard that and I'm like, really? You know, there's other people that are really interested and they're doing it on a scale that is blowing me away. The Hong Kong Polytechnic Division of Computer Arts or something, you know, like their person representing there, and he knew all the people out of San Francisco that were there and saying he's with the Maker Faire there, and I'm like, wow, you know, this is all major players in how things happen. So to hear you're speaking of it at the same time in just a little different way, but it's the same stuff, it's beautiful. It's going to happen.
So just to really hone in on that piece, you said that they're actually doing biometric studies.
Yep, big time.
That are demonstrating the impact of meditation.
Absolutely.
In terms of what is the impact for world peace?
Plus the goggles with lights that put you into the beta brain wave more effectively. And once you've been there and can practice it, it leads to peace and love.
And enlightenment, right?
Indeed.
So it is actually possible that we could have mass enlightenment within our time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Critical mass. And with critical mass, boom, it happens everywhere, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Wow. And I mean, to have technology that supports us to do that, why wouldn't we all want that? Instead of sitting in front of a TV watching violence,
right?
Why don't we put on the goggles and practice peace?
Exactly. You know, it's like, I don't need that. I don't need that. Don't even bother with it.
Right.
You know, and more people are on that page these days, for sure.
Awesome.
But
well, thank you for being your beautiful self.
Thank you.
Hello, Joel.
Hello.
We'd love to have you start by actually telling the world your name and your organization.
My name is Joel Davis. I'm the founder and visionary of Festival Medical, which is a nonprofit designed to bridge emergency medical response with the alternative, intuitive, and holistic healers in our community. We're trying to get everyone involved in the entirety of healing, all of the healing modalities that we have available to us, spread them through the community so that people can take them home with them and share them with their own hometown, with their own home community.
The last piece is we're doing a tour this summer, uplifting a movement called Harmonious Humanity. When you hear that term, what do you think of? What do you think the world needs to co-create harmonious humanity?
Yeah, that's evolution, right off the bat. We all have such incredible talents inside of us, and we see people really stepping into their power, really growing into their role. And I think that the harmonization of that, seeing empowered people in their roles, doing what they love to do, doing what inspires them and what feels really passionate for them, that's what's going to harmonize humanity.
Exactly, brother. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome, Lotus.
Blessings. If you guys could each close your eyes for a moment. And imagine that the world is a canvas. And you have a paintbrush. And you can paint over anything. And you can create and paint anything into the world. To create, to co-create a harmonious human presence on this planet. What would you paint?
Well, I'm not a painter, but I suppose my most comfortable mode of expression is sound, so I would say I would paint the sound. I would paint the sound of the concrescence. I would paint the sound of what's occurring, the sound of the experience.
And the metaphor is like, what do we need, or what do we need to change? And I would love for you to actually say what you were saying before, like, you used your hands and you were like, we need a network.
Yeah. Well, it creates the imagery, and as cheesy as it is, it creates the imagery in my mind of the scene in Avatar, where they all connect, and each human in this context would be analogous to these concentric spheres of people in the world doing the same thing and working towards the same apex. But we just need to gain awareness of each other. That's the key. That's the synapse. That's the neural networks in the human brain firing and gaining awareness of each other. Because right now we're kind of off in our corners doing our work, which is great, which is necessary to cultivate and to incubate for this to occur. But the next step to me is to gain awareness of others and these other people who are doing this, which events like this is totally about. But creating a network, a global network that renders strength to our movement.
Oh.
Oh.
Perfect.
For me, it would be it's been a painting that I've been painting for a very, 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 very long time. It's an institute based on the exploration of consciousness studies, and where we can, with the technology we have now, we can produce art from anywhere in the world and distribute it globally and be in control of the voice and also the financial flow of it, so that the success of it comes back to us, the artists that are working on cultivating a better world, and it gives us the finances to then invest back into the community, back into the globe, and really divert the financial channels and reestablish the connection back to this earth, and just have an institute where we can really go deep on all levels, and we can be scientific about it, study it, and see a repetition and see what works and what doesn't work, and so that we can really build a solid science and a solid understanding of what this thing is called life on Earth.
Be the dank paint.
Yeah.
Yeah, institutes, plural.
Yeah.
That are in this network.
Exactly.
That are sharing these best practices across the planet. Too.
Exactly. And then we can give it to our children, and they'll just do what they do and just keep on growing it. 777 generations.
I'll play bridge builder on this one. I think that whatever I paint, I hope it's a canvas in between both these guys' canvases, and that way all of our pictures can join together. And to me, maybe that would be something like building a super awesome 40-foot high geodome with a treehouse layer in it that is, say, being funded by these institutes to do an Earth Conscious festival that this guy gets to run.
Arboreous.
As well. Yeah, and to be able to facilitate higher learning for the community, say people that are interested in natural building or geodesics or music and a more spiritual approach, and to holding these things very sacred, and it can be something joyful where people are gonna learn, and there'll be levity from mistakes and humor to guide us through to finishing a space like that, and creating an area and a womb for all of that knowledge sharing and the love and the sound healing and the exploration and the building together, and to be able to share it all as one. For me, integration is important. Collaboration is just so crucial, which is, back to the high-res thing. This is just a huge collaboration, and whatever paint I use, I hope it's really sticky and it binds us all together and makes us one.
Non-lead based?
Non-lead based. Hemp paint.
Yeah.